Epic Tuesday Live. This is what we are doing now. I am Denisha Wright, co-owner of Images of Ink and co-founder of Incredible Pressed Images Crafting, also known as Epic, where we are home of the Kinfolks. So tonight we have another free tutorial for you guys. We are going to learn what I have named the pop-out method. I just made that name up. I don't know what you call it, whatever you want, but that's what that is. So we are going to learn how to make an image pop out of another image to give it more like a 3D effect. So we are going to go ahead and get started. If you haven't already, y'all know me. I told y'all that the sale was going to end on the weekend, and it didn't, because I never went back in and changed it. So if you didn't already grab the sports towel template, it is still 50% off. I will be using that design tonight, as well as the freebie from Freebie Friday, which is the Polaroid design. So how I've decided to structure this is on the Friday before the Epic Tuesday, if there is a file that I feel you need or is pertinent or very important to the tutorial, I will try to provide some type of freebie to go with it. And that freebie will drop the Friday before, and then it's going to remain free until the next Friday. Okay, so previously I did it for 2 weeks. I was going to do it until the end of this live, but if anybody wants to go back and rewatch, I want them to still be able to get it. So it will be a freebie from Friday to Friday, so for a whole week. After that, I'm going to put a small fee on it, because if you didn't take advantage of having a whole week to go download the free file, that means you wanted to pay some money for it. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you pay a couple dollars for it. So the Freebie Fridays will be free for 1 week. So they'll drop on the Friday before the tutorial, and then the next Friday it will go off. I'm going to try to remember, but y'all know how that goes. So if you catch it, be grateful, because it is what it is. But so for today's freebie, you did need the Polaroid design. If you wanted to purchase a sports towel template, because I was going to be using that, I did put it 50% off. If you want to use a different background, that's free. You can also do that. It's totally fine. You are going to be needing Affinity Designer if you're going to follow along with me. But remember, like I told you before, if you have another software, you can apply the same skills and techniques. You just have to know your software, so you know which tools to be using that are comparable to the tools that I will be using in Affinity Designer. We will be using the designer persona as well as the pixel persona. I'm going to show you 2 ways to achieve the same end results. And this is just to show you that there are multiple ways to get to a finished product. You just need to figure out which works best for you. And for some instances, one way may work better depending on what the design is versus another design. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. I am going to share my screen. Oh, there it is. I'm like, where's the share button? All right. So here is the sports towel template. I already have it opened up. I haven't decided which sport I'm going to use just yet, but I have this open. I'm going to go ahead and open up a new document. So I'm going to go to File, New, and let's go ahead to our print. And I am going to be working in inches. So let's go ahead and do 13 by 19, just because I know that's the largest size print that I can do on my Sawgrass printer. Okay, so there is that. Now I want to go ahead and pull in my Polaroid design. So I'm going to come over here to my place image tool, which looks like the portrait on the left hand side. I'm going to go find where I saved my file. And here is my Polaroid. That was our free download. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and stretch and make it a little bigger just so you guys can see. Of course, you will resize this to fit whatever item you are working with. Okay, so as you can see, this Polaroid image is a PNG, which means it is a pixel art. It is not a vector. So right now, this can be manipulated most best in the pixel persona, but we are going to apply a couple of tools to this so that way we can drop in our image. Okay, so right now this is an image. You can see it's a PNG. Now I'm going to go ahead and go back to the website. I'm going to go to remove BG. I'm going to pull in my image so I can remove the background. I actually have two, so I don't know which one I want to use today. So I'm going to remove the background on both just so I can have them handy. And I'm going to show you, because I'm going to show you two different ways. So I'm just going to remove the backgrounds on both of them right now so I don't have to come back later. And it is loading, taking a little bit longer than expected, but let's go ahead and refresh because that's actually taking way longer than it should. So let me go back and grab my image again. Maybe I should let this one finish before I move on to the next one. All right, that should be better. I don't know why I was connected to my phone instead of the Wi-Fi. And then let me go ahead and grab the second image. And there we go. All right, so as you can see here, this one, we still have some of the other people in the background. So we can clean this up one of two ways. We can clean it up here with the edit tool. And they have the erase tool here, so you can use the eraser and get rid of any of that. But I'm going to leave them there because I do want to show you when we get to the other Affinity software, how to remove that if you want to take it out. So let me download that one and download this one. Let me go ahead and pull both of them into our software. All right, so I have both pictures here. Just stretching them out a little bit bigger. Let's go ahead and turn this one off. I'm going to show you the first method. This one is going to be using the crop tool. So we are going to use the crop tool to get our image the way we want it and to be popping out of the picture. So when we go here, we're going to place it. I'm just going to rotate it so it's going the same way as the Polaroid. And if I were to drop this directly into the image now, this is what we get. We get the square and it's just cut off by wherever the boundaries are of this design. So I'm going to undo that using Control Z. And what I need to do is I just want the picture, the image to go inside of this area right here, because this is where the actual Polaroid is. So I'm going to turn him off really quick. I am going to grab our rectangle tool and I am just going to draw me a square. Let's turn it red so I can see. And then I'm going to bring down the opacity so I can see the black behind me. So I'm going to put it at 50%. Okay. So now I am going to resize this so that way it's going to fit into this square area. So I can rotate it and move it around until it gets to about the right size. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this to a curve. So right now it's a rectangle. I'm going to right click, go to convert to curve. Now you see how my edges turned into these little nodes. So now I can move these individual nodes wherever I want them. So if I go to my move tool, you see it has the circles. That means I can move it around. I can stretch it. I can do all of that. Once I go over here, the third one down is called the node tool. The shortcut is the letter A. Then I get these squares on the corners, meaning I can move one corner at a time. So I'm going to place each one of these at the corner of my portrait. Okay. So scroll down to the bottom, place this one. And it doesn't have to be all the way perfect right now because we can adjust it later. Okay. Boom, there we go. So when I zoom out, now you can see my red square is over the area for my black square. So now when I go to turn my image back on, let me move him to the top. Now, if I want to drop the image inside of the red, now it clips inside of the red. Okay. So let's undo that. Because I don't want this to show, I can do one of two things. I can make it black, so that way it matches the Polaroid background, or I can just do no fill, and it's just basically like a clear rectangle, okay? Either one of those will work. If you plan to add a background, either one of those, again, will still work. So what I want to do on the pop out, I don't want his feet to pop out. I want him to pop out of the top. So I'm going to place him where I want him to be popping out. So about right there. But remember, if I drop him inside of the rectangle right now, it's going to cut off his head and it's going to cut off his feet. So one other thing, remember I changed the opacity. I want to put it back to 100%. So when I drop my image inside, it doesn't look faded. So what I am going to do is I am going to make a copy. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to duplicate. Okay, so these two are right on top of each other. I'm going to take the top one, I'm going to turn it off for now. I'm going to take the bottom one, drop it inside of the rectangle. Okay, so now half of his body is cut off on the top and the bottom part is cut off. Now I'm going to turn this one back on. Okay, but now his feet are sticking out. All I'm going to do is come over here to the left. Oh, let me click on him, the top layer, grab my crop tool, and I'm just going to crop up until the feet are gone. Okay, now because this top image is directly on the top of this one, they're in the exact same place, I never moved them, it looks like it's still one image. So if I grab this top one and move it, look, his legs are missing because I cropped those out. So let me put that back. If I grab the bottom image, which is inside of the rectangle, remember, he's clipped inside of there. So if I move him around, he's going to move. So let me put him back. Boom, there's your pop out. So what I would do is I'm going to take this. There's my curve. There's my top layer. And I have my images right there. If you want them to stay together, so I'm going to grab the top picture. I'm going to grab the curve, which is that rectangle. You can right click and hit group. Okay, that way, whenever you move that, it's going to all move together. So not only is the image moving, but also the picture, or sorry, the rectangle that was there. So let me put him back. Okay, because if I change the rectangle colors, if I put it to red, now I grab this whole area, everything is all grouped together. Once I put it back onto the rectangle, onto top of the Polaroid, now I have my pop out effect, but I don't want that to be red. Okay, so there's that. Now let's go ahead and grab our sports towel and let's go with football since he is playing football. And I'm just going to right click and I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to paste it over here on this page. Okay, so we can shrink it down. Let's make it about 10 for now, just so I can see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this curve. Let me rename this so we know this is the rectangle, because once I change it to a curve, it changed the name. So that's the rectangle. So if I just grab this rectangle here and I take this image and I'm going to rotate it because I kind of want it to go the same direction. And I want to be able to cover all of that. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Rotate a little more. Make sure I'm covering up all the black. And now I'm just going to drop this inside of the rectangle, but it's in the rectangle, but it's on top of my image. So it looks like my legs are being cut off again. So I'm going to drop this below. You can either just grab and drag it or undo. If you click on this layer, if you come up here to the top, up here it says move to the back or move back one. If you go back one, it's going to take it down one inside of your order. And then there you go. So now it looks like you have a background in your picture and he's actually popping out of the picture. Okay. So for right now, he's pretty flat against the back of the picture. So we want to add a little bit of depth to it. Okay. So let's go ahead and grab this top image and let's right click. Whoops, not right click. Let me grab the top image, hit the effects, and let's add a little bit of a shadow. So let's go to hard light. And let's just start moving these up a little bit. Again, remember, we know when we do our effects, we just play with the sliders until we get the product that we want. So let's darken this up a little bit, just so it can give me a little bit of a shadow. The offset's a little bit too much for me, so I'm going to bring that down. All right, so you see how it's kind of giving a 3D effect. But look at here. It's only giving a 3D effect to the top part because that's the only part that I have selected, right? So if I click back on this top one, let's add maybe a little bit of an outer glow. So let's do a soft light. Increase that a little bit. Let's do a hard light. Okay. So there's that. Okay, but now the bottom half of his body doesn't look right. So I'm going to close this effect. We learned this one in our last tutorial. So let's grab the top one. I'm going to right click, copy. Let's grab the bottom image. I'm going to go over here to edit and then paste effects. Okay, and it's going to do the exact same thing here. But look at that. Okay, because it's applying it around the edge of this right here. So let's go ahead and take these effects off. Okay, click on my image, right click, and let's rasterize it. And then edit. Paste effects. Whoops, there we go. So let me grab the back one, copy it, control, or let me go to the effects. I forgot to put scale with object. So scale with object, right click, copy, grab the top one, edit, paste effects. Okay. All right. So here we still have this harsh line. So let me adjust. And I'm going to take off the glow because the glow is the one that's showing the most. So let me grab the bottom one, take off the glow here. And there you go. So now we have that outline where he's kind of sitting off of the element right there. And there's that one. Okay. All right, y'all ready to do it again? But with a different tool? So I'm gonna go ahead on and grab this one, turn that one off, and I'm gonna grab, actually, we can leave that one on. We're just gonna do a whole new one. So let's grab all of that, group it together, Control G, and then let's just turn that one off. Okay, so here's our second image. Okay, so the first one, we just used the crop tool. We cut off the parts that we did not want to show. This one, we are going to use the eraser tool, but we have to do it in the pixel persona. Okay, so let me go ahead and place my Polaroid again. Not that big. Okay, grab my rectangle tool, make it red, turn the opacity to 5. I'm going to right click to convert it to curves, or you can do Control Enter. Okay, once it's converted to curves, you double click, you get your square corners, so I can resize it to line up right here. So let me resize this, and then I see there's a question in the chat. Thank you, Zenithia. So there's that. I'm just going to line it up right there. Okay. Go ahead, put my opacity back to 100 so I can press 0 on the keyboard. That's the shortcut. I can go in and see it's a little bit off. Now, if I leave the background as a clear background, it won't matter. But if you decide to add a background into it, you want it to be straight because you don't want that black to show. Unless your background already has black in it. So I'm just trying to line it up a little bit better. All right, there we go. Yes, it will be posted on YouTube for replay. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the color. Let me call this rectangle. Okay. Let's go ahead. Here's my image. I'm going to move it to the top. So up here, it's move forward 1 or move all the way to the front. Okay, so for now, let's turn off the Polaroid and turn off the rectangle. Okay. So grab this here. In order to use any of these tools in the pixel persona, so if I want to use the eraser, I grab the eraser. You can make it larger by adjusting the width here, or you can use the bracket key, which is next to the P. So the left one will make it smaller, the right one will make it larger. So you see, I just started erasing here. Let's undo that. So for me, you saw when I first did it, let me undo that. Let me undo it all really quick. Undo, okay. So you see here, I'm just gonna name it surfing because that's what it looks like he's doing. You see it says it's an image, okay? So when I click on this one and I grab my eraser tool and I start erasing, okay? Affinity has added in an update to where once I grab this tool, you see this personal assistant, it says the assistant rasterized a layer for you previously that you had previously selected because it was not a raster layer. So it just said image. If it just says image, you can't use the tools. So let me undo all of that. So right now it's an image layer, but Affinity has gotten a little smart. And if it recognizes that you want to do a pixel layer, it will automatically do it. If not, you just right click and hit rasterize. Now it says pixel. If any of these tools are not working on your image, you need to make sure that it says pixels because otherwise it won't be able to erase or it won't be able to apply any of these effects. So I'm going to grab my eraser. Let's make it bigger. And now I'm going to get rid of these people over here that were not supposed to be there. Okay. Let me turn my Polaroid back on. This is my crazy kid here. So let's make him a little bit larger. Not too big. Okay. Same thing. I'm going to grab this image. I'm going to drop it inside the rectangle. It's going to cut it off. So before I drop it in, I need to make a copy. The shortcut is Control J, like jump. Drop the first one inside. Oops. So if I drop them inside of each other. If I turn the top one off, I drop this one inside. He's cut off. Let me move them down just a little bit. Okay. So drop this one inside. Now turn on the top layer. Okay, so I can go back to design persona. Again, remember, we just use crop. So I could just crop it out, get rid of that. But since I've already rasterized it, I can just grab my eraser tool and erase any of the parts that I don't want. Okay. So, I mean, I'm erasing more than I need to because it doesn't go up this high, but essentially I just erase all of that. Now, if I mistakenly go up here and erase the top, of course, it's going to take away my top. So you don't want to go up too high, but that's the other way that you can get rid of it. So now this is the only part that's left of this part of the image. Okay. Question. Thank you. Thank you. That's my ultimate goal, is to explain it well enough to where you guys can do this. So then our next option is to, if we wanted to, let me go back over here. I don't know what sport he is playing now, but let's go ahead and let's grab cheer, just because it has a glitter background that I want. So let's grab that. Before we do that, I had a video previously showing how to change the colors on this, but like I mentioned before, my old profile was deleted, so that video is gone. So if you purchased this file, there were two different files. There was an Affinity file and there was a Photoshop file. So to change this rectangle, you just grab the rectangle. Their colors are blue. And then the words here, these are the purple words. Again, if you can see, this is a PNG, so it's not a vector. I need to go to the effects, and it has a color overlay. So go to overlay, change it to whatever color you want. We're going to put it to the white. Let's close that. Grab the gold words, click on the effects, color overlay. I'm going to use the color picker tool to grab the blue to match. And there we go. That's how easy it is to change the color. Just grab the effects, change the color overlay. If you don't want the background to be black, you just grab the whole layer. So this is the cheer layer. And if you want it, you can make it red. You can make it yellow, whatever you want, but I'm going to leave it black because that works for me. If you want to do the glitter layer, you want to put an overlay, turn it to blue, turn it to yellow, whatever you want, but I'm going to leave it to whatever to it was white to turn it silver. Okay, so let me grab this whole layer, copy it. So quick little bonus tutorial. I used to have that one, but it got deleted. Yes, the live will be saved and uploaded to YouTube. Yes. So let's paste that. So you will be able to replay it at your leisure. Rotate it. Now, this file is editable where you can change the colors, but you are not able to change the words. So if you purchase the file, that's why I gave you like 8 to 10 different sports, because the words are not changeable. You can only change the color of them. I'm going to drop this inside of my rectangle, making sure that it goes below the picture. Yes, the sports file is on the website, and I linked it in the group. Make sure if you're using Affinity, you grab the Affinity file. If you are using Photoshop, you grab the Photoshop file, because some of the effects on Affinity don't transfer to Photoshop well. You can go from Photoshop to Affinity pretty easily, but going from Affinity to Photoshop is a little different. So I had to save it 2 different ways. So unless you plan on using both programs, you only need to purchase one. So whichever software you decide to use. So there is that. And he is ready to go. I can add some text here. So let me go back to designer persona, add text. Surfing into sophomore year. I don't know. This is my crazy kid, y'all. So let's center this text up. Turn it blue. Shrink it down. Rotate it. Maybe add a little stroke around it. I don't know, just something to jazz it up a little bit. Whatever you want to do, you can add some effects to it, whatever you want to do. Of course, I would probably change the font because that is not appealing, but you know. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so that is that. Now, how did this design even come about? So how I decided to come up with this tutorial for this week's Epic Tuesday Live is because Cece, Natasha Rogers, is our other admin. Her daughter is on a competition cheer team. So let me take this out because that is really bothering me. It does not look right. But oh, you know what I can put there? I know what I'm gonna put. I'm gonna put his name. So let's grab that. Let me grab a font. Y'all know me and incomplete stuff just don't sit well together. So I always have to fix it. And let me use, since his is a, oh, no. I forgot. I forgot not to try to type in my font because Affinity, last week it was working. It didn't crash on me and then it started crashing again. So I'm just gonna have to pull up where it's saved. So if you're looking for a font in Affinity, if you try to type your font name in and it crashes, just know that it has a bug and Affinity is aware of it and they're trying to find, they say it's a Windows problem. So if you're on a Windows, they say it's something that with the new Windows update that caused it. Oh, good, it's saved. So they haven't been able to find a solution. So my suggestion is don't try to search for your font, just type it in or scroll for it. Don't type for it, if that makes sense. So instead of typing, just go ahead and scroll for the font that you want. But it's weird because on my computer, I don't have that issue. I'm on Eric's computer. I don't know, maybe I haven't updated mine yet. I wouldn't doubt if that wasn't the reason. I'm always behind on the update, so that's probably why mine still works. But just know if you have that issue, it is not you. It is an issue that Affinity is aware of. So just try to remember. As soon as I started typing and the letters didn't move, I knew it. I was like, dang it, I forgot. All right, so let me grab the Polaroid here. I just want to add a little bit of a shadow because it's kind of blended in right there. Actually, I'm going to do an offset over here. So offset tool. This will allow me to drag it out a little bit. There we go. Just give it a little bit of a shadow. Okay, boom. Just so it kind of looks more 3D, kind of stands out, and you can see that. Yes, this is going to be perfect for a senior graduation. So back to how this design came about. So Cece's daughter Mariah, is on a competition cheer team, and their competition season is getting ready to start. If we have any cheer moms, any dance moms, any sports moms, period, band moms, whatever, y'all know when they go to competitions, they all have those same matching bags, and everybody's stuff is always thrown in a big pile together. And then what happens at the end of the day? Somebody goes home with the wrong bag, or you can't find your bag, or you got to dig through the bag to see what everything is. So this is what we came up with. So I'm going to grab all of this, group it together just so I can move it all at once. Okay. And now I'm going to pull in, or I'm going to open. I don't want to pull it. I'm going to open. So file, open, or actually I can place it. So I'm going to place tool, and I'm going to grab our rectangle bag tag. Okay. These bag tags are on our website, and this template already sized up, ready to go, 2.9 by 4.14 is in the Epic stash. So it's in our free stash where you can download the free template that matches the bag tag on the website. So if you zoom in, this is what the bag tag looks like. The red area is the actual bag tag, and this is the, excuse me, this is the little center part where you put your hook, and then the black area is your bleed area. So what I'm gonna do, let me zoom out. Clearly this needs to be a lot smaller because that bag tag is not that big. Okay. But what I want to do, I'm going to go and take out my background because I want to show you how you can make the backgrounds sync up. So let me drag this out of there. Now it's on the top. I'm going to turn it back straight. So I'm going to put the rotate to 0. And I'm going to use this to cover the whole bag tag. Okay. And let me send this all the way to the back so I can still see. If you need to change the opacity so that way you can see better, you can do that, but I can see it just fine right there. Now I'm going to take this and drop it in here. As you can see, if it's going outside of the red, that means it's going to get cut off. Like his head is going to get cut off right there. So I need to make this even smaller. Okay, drop that right there. It's all nice and center. If I go here, it's inside of my red area. I should be fine. Okay, now I'm going to take my background and I'm going to make a copy. The shortcut is Control J. Okay, I'm going to take one of them and I'm going to drop it inside of the bag tag. Okay, but watch this. You see this bag tag over here? It says, let me change the name. Rectangle bag tag. I'm going to make it short so you can see it. It says rectangle bag tag, and right here it says embedded document. So if I grab my rectangle, my background, and I try to drop it inside, it just disappears. Like, where did it go? So this is it's inside of there, but it's inside of the whole square area. Like I can't see my guides anymore. So let me undo that. The reason is, once I placed it inside of a document that's already open, it says this document is already working. If you want to change this, you need to go work on it somewhere else. So now if I double click on it, not the name part, not the name part. If I double click, it's going to open in a whole new window. Okay. So let me close this out. Let me turn this off. Let me copy this one so I have a copy of it. Let me turn this one off. Okay, so this is what we see. If I double click and I start working over here, so let's just say I come over here and I add a circle to it. Let's make it red. Whoops. And I put this circle right here. When I go back to my original, guess what? Look at that circle. It's there. But I can't move the circle here. I can only move the whole thing. If I go back to the embedded document, I didn't close it out, and I move the circle over here, and I can't close it, now look at where the circle is. So whatever I do in the embedded document, it happens on the original document. But I can't do any edits here. If I want to go back and change it, I got to double click over here again, and now I can put it at the bottom. And if I close it out, now the circle's at the bottom. So what we want to do is get rid of this circle because it's not a part of our design. I took a copy of our background. I'm going to paste it, and I'm going to put it to where it's going to cover. And let's see, there's my little red. That one is, let's move it to the back so I can actually see instead of guessing. So now I want to drop it inside of the black area. Okay, so which one? This one is the black, so I'm going to drop it right inside of there. Boom. So now when I come back over here, close it out, guess what? It's dropped in there. Okay, and I can still see all of my guides. Now I want to grab, here's my picture, it's at the bottom of it. I'm going to move the picture to the top. Okay, so now that's inside of there. Now if I turn this one back on, if I line them up so that way they are even, exactly in the same spot, now I'm going to open my picture back up, and now I'm going to go drop this background into my rectangle. So now it looks like the Polaroid is actually the frame around here. If you don't like that effect and you just want it to be the black background, you just take that off and you just leave it just like that. So it looks like an actual Polaroid. If you just want it to be glitter, then we can just grab the glitter layer. And drop it inside of our rectangle. And just put it right there. So now we can resize it however we want to, rotate it. The choice is yours. However you want your background to look, you get to decide. Okay, so I'm gonna take that off. I'm just gonna leave it as a Polaroid. Now, when you go to print, you have to remember that these will print. So you're gonna go and double click on it. So you can go back over here and you can just turn off the reds. Okay, click on this one. We don't want to outline on it, so turn the outline off. Close it up. Now it's ready to print. I have one more thing I wanted to grab, but I don't think I saved it here. Let me see if I downloaded it already. Let me see if I can find it. I'm just looking for their, there it is, their school, their logo. So if you want to throw the logo on there somewhere, maybe like the logo is a part of the picture. Whoops, rotate it. Throw it on there. Boom, now every kid is going to have their picture and their name on the bag tag. Okay. And the bag tag, this one is our rectangle one. We also have another one, which is like the giant dog tag. So this is our other one. It's shaped just like a dog tag, but it's about the same size as 4.5 inches or 4 inches tall. So you can do pretty much the same thing. We have those on our website as well.